Hi everybody. So while the map generates, I just wanted to thank everyone that posted a comment or a suggestion on my last series, the Sea Ice series. So to address that, Rao Minin said that I need a better mic, and I agree. I'm shopping for one. And suggested that I have a Christmas-themed playthrough. So with that in mind, I wanted to do just that. So I have created a Boreal Forest playthrough. Now, a typical Boreal Forest is not going to be challenging enough for me to even bother. So what I did was I edited the Lost Tribe scenario and basically cut my Lost Tribe down to a tribe of one, who I have named Tusk. She starts with just a bow, some food, some wood, um, and her wits. And she is a pretty capable colonist. She doesn't have any things she can't do, and she's good at research, crafting, mining, somewhat good at shooting and growing, or has a passion for it at least. So I also wanted to say that a YouTuber named Lucid said don't skip ahead. We want to see all the play. So I will do that as well. I will not be skipping. And Missa said they wanted to see a huge base, and I believe on a Boreal playthrough I will be able to achieve just that. So before I really get into the build, I want to show you my seed, which is the seed Solitude. It was randomed. On the settings, I had max rain and min temperature, and this is what it generated. These are the factions it gave me. So I am right now hostile to a tribe, hostile to two pirate bands, and friendly with two Outlander unions. What I plan on doing is allying with the tribe and being hostile to everyone else. I am a tribe, they are a tribe, we should be allied. So if you look at the world, I have started here. I am surrounded by pirates. Do have the tribe somewhat close to me, and then I have Outlander unions a little bit further out. So I'll have a lot of people to fight, that's for sure, as long as I survive long enough to get to the fighting. And now I just generated the map at the start of the game, so I have to look around and see if there is any good starts for me. You know, places that are of higher value. Um, so I do believe instead of trying to plop myself next to some fertile territory, which is what I would normally do, I really want to settle here, and I will show you why later in the long run. But this is my choice. I want to settle right here. I think there are some fertile ground around here. I believe, yeah, there's little patches of it here and there. Um, but that is my ultimate decision. It is not too far from my start, as you can see. Um, so what I'm going to do right off the bat here, it's 8 degrees out. I believe my character is good, 36 degrees. So I do have to worry about hypothermia pretty soon. I mean, not immediately, but pretty soon. So I'm going to start stockpiling here. I don't believe there's a steam geyser here, but not quite close enough for me to bother with. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to live right in here. In the start here. Now, if I was really concerned about heat, I could of course build around a steam geyser, and the steam geyser would keep me plenty warm. Now, one of the things I must say is the Sea Ice playthrough was not particularly helpful for new players. It was very specific to Sea Ice. Sea Ice is a pretty unique biome, and for that reason, I didn't really turn last video into a helpful video for new players of RimWorld, or of this patch in particular. So what I'm going to do here is try to explain why I am doing everything I am doing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start building here. The reason being is I'll be able to mine more easily. Now, I don't know. Yeah, she's not a particularly good constructor, so hopefully there won't be too much failing. But yeah, that looked pretty good. Then immediately I want a campfire in here. And then I'm going to order her to start mining out some area. I'm going to throw down butcher and a fueled stove. So I already have some wood in case of hypothermia. I have a fire going, and I want to create a roofed area right around here so that I don't freeze, and that I also don't let my my resources decay. That's a pretty nice trick. Initially, you're not going to be able to build like a giant warehouse. Well, on some of the playthroughs. I mean, of course, if I had a tribe of 5 people, that'd be a lot easier. But at least on this playthrough, I'm not going to be able to build large at first. I will eventually, I think, but with that in mind, I need to make sure I use every little millimeter of space properly. So now I'm going to set up a bed and tell her to haul the rest of the wood, or at least as much as she can get. There's quite a lot of it left. And it's becoming the night of the first of the summer. So this is a pretty solid start. What you want to do is you want to find a nice permanent area for residence and haul your stuff to that spot. That's sort of the idea I had going here, and that's that's going to afford you a pretty solid start. What I want to do maybe on the next day is haul the rest of this stuff because it will slowly decay, and I don't want it to decay. It's important that I not allow precious resources to decay. Now, granted, on this map, it's has plenty more resources than some of the previous playthroughs I played in. The previous playthroughs, like Sea Ice, had nothing. I really had no resources on the map, and that was really tough. And I really love it tough like that, but that was extreme. This time around, it's not so extreme. So as you can see, I'm making sure she's comfortable. I guess this bed is comfortable, and she is warm. She's not sleeping on the ground. She is urgently hungry, but as soon as she decides to wake up, I don't want to wake her to keep her as happy as possible. I can get her back to work. I'm going to have her mine just enough for the stove. I didn't mean to queue up the kibble. I think this is the last block I'll need for the stove. Yep, that's all I need for the stove. And now I'll be able to fuel that with some wood and get cooking when I need to. So I'm just going to have her haul maybe the food first. I'm a little worried about rabbits and this stuff eating my limited resources. Now, granted, unlike maps that I've previously played in, there's plenty of food to be had here. There's not a food shortage. I've had a lot of playthroughs where there were, some true scarcity. So instead of hauling in 2 separate loads here, I'm just going to force her to consume some. She's probably actually going to consume more than the 6, so I'll have her consume. And now when I haul, I can fit it all in my hands and make it in 1 trip, which is a lot better than 2 trips. That's half the time. So she wants to relax socially, but her mental health is fine, so I'm actually going to put her immediately back to work, haul the herbal medicine. And after I get the herbal medicine, I've gotten everything that is critical for me to haul. The wood will be nice, and I'm probably going to haul it because hauling wood is a bit easier than chopping wood. And the silver, of course, I'll want eventually, but the joy of that silver is it doesn't decay like some of the other resources, and therefore it's not time sensitive that I get it back. And it's also not likely that pirates are going to steal it. I don't think that that there'll be pirates to try to take that anytime soon. All right, so now she's meditating, which means she's, not being productive to anything but her mental health, so I'm just going to get her to haul some more. I do want a bit of a wood surplus to keep the fire going. This fire is about to go out. Of course, if I settled on top of a steam geyser, it'd be a lot easier, but there just weren't any steam geysers where I wanted to settle. So instead, I'm just forced to haul and chop and heat myself the old-fashioned way. Now, one thing I want to immediately do is I want to cut out enough space for my character to set up a research bench. So I need to make a hole large enough in this spot for the research bench. But of course, keep the fire going. That's always going to be important. So if I look at my nearby surroundings, I do have a small patch, as I mentioned before, of fertile soil here. I'm not sure if I'm going to really utilize that very much. It's a pretty small patch. And I have my first visitor. Coalition of Asdos. Who are you? Outlander Union. Eventually I will go to war with her. It's a little ironic that I'm possibly going to trade with her, but that's the long-term plan. Alright, so I do have enough room at this point for a research bench. And I want to clean this place up a bit and throw the bench in. Because I want to try to get my... Ooh, that's not productive. I want to try to get researching electricity and things like that, going as soon as possible. I don't want to delay on that at all. And I can't really afford very much delay. Although I can hunt and forage. Once it hits winter, I don't think there's going to be many animals in the Boreal Forest. And sooner or later, I'm going to run out of food. I will not be resorting to cannibalism. My tribe is not a tribe of cannibals. So with that in mind, agriculture is going to be pretty important to me. I'm actually not going to bother waking Tusk up. I'll let her sleep. So I named her Tusk because my youngest dog, is named Tusk. And this whole series, I'm going to have sort of Birth of a Nation. That's the sort of idea behind it. She is going to be my version of Romulus and Remus, who are the fabled brothers who started Rome. And much like Rome was not built in a day, nor will my little corner of the earth here. But I am hoping to get a more illustrious setup than I did before. On my previous playthrough on the sea ice, I was so resource starved that there was very little I could do. I was sort of stuck in survival mode. Permanent survival mode. Never really flourished. I never really had a flourishing economy or anything like that. I could have played it a little bit differently. I could have played it a bit more surgically, and I plan on playing this a little surgically so that I do flourish a bit more than my previous playthrough. So now I have this pesky little rat on my tail. Gonna make sure he doesn't chase me forever. Oh, he's already biting me, so I'm just gonna start punching him. Now the problem with even pesky little manhunters early on, basically any animal that goes hostile like this is classified as a manhunter, is even these little scratches can do a lot of damage, and they can be truly life-threatening if they become infected, which is what I'm really going to try to avoid have happen. But the problem is I have no way of self-medicating until I have a visitor, you know, and no one has joined my little neck of the woods yet, so I don't have the ability to, you know, sort of heal myself. I could just go to sleep, I suppose, but that's not necessarily going to heal me. I can still get infections, and so even a little rat bite early on can be pretty dangerous. Well, now that the world has melted, due to somewhat of a little heat wave, I can now see fertile zones a lot easier. And as you can see, this is the little fertile zone, teeny little fertile zone I spotted earlier. Most of this is just lichen covered soil. There is a much larger fertile zone here, but it isn't where I want to be building, and I think I'm not going to rely on high fertility zones for that reason. I will just forge ahead. So this is a pretty standard start. You know, get a little cabin. It's productive if you tuck it into a mountain where you can mine. Do nothing else but, you know, sort of set yourself up. Unfortunately, I need treatment, and there's no one to treat me. And I don't have any antibiotics to take to stave off infections. That would be wonderful, but I just simply don't have that. I'm actually going to wake Tusk up manually so she doesn't keep sleeping. Get her back to work. She does seem to be bleeding sort of everywhere she goes, which is a little problematic, but, you know, that can't be helped. Can't do anything about that. She just wants to keep resting. Well, the cuts on her torso are healing. They're almost healed. I'll let her rest a little bit longer, just to make sure I don't die of any infections. But it does look like I have to tend to a campfire now. Alright, so now a wanderer joins me, who seems to be related to me, as I can see down here. So, my faction. Tuscan Nation, and this community will be called Tuscany. Every now and then, when I'm mad at my dog, I call her Tuscany. Now, her name is just Tusk, but Tuscany is a good long name. So, who is this, and how are they related to me? It's my father, Boreal, who is a trigger-happy but lazy. Good at cooking and growing. I can deal with that. I can work with that. And being my father, that will really help out with relationships. He won't be creeping on me or anything like that. Alright, so let's allow work. There we go. That should be enough. Allow some doctoring here. Get me out of the woods. So he has a bad back and an artery blockage. So I got to be careful with him. He's not going to be able to haul much. He's not going to be able to move fast. He's a little bit of a liability. And boy, I don't really want you sleeping out there. So, well, now that I'm a community of two, an interrelated community, but a community of two, more like a family, but you know, it's a pretty good start. It's weird that I have to continually remind her, hey, you have a job, hey, you have a job. So it does appear that, at least initially, I am a cave person. So I guess that's typical. I really want to sort of follow the trajectory that you start off as like a caveman and you work your way up. So one thing I'm going to do here is make sure that I'm going to try to keep Tusk researching as much as possible. And I'm going going to try to have Brio supply all the food and whatever else is necessary, you know, constructing fireplaces and things like that to keep Tusk productive. Architect chased by pirates? Yeah, I will offer you shelter. You're incapable of dumb labor and you're also lazy. This is not looking to be a very good start. But this pirate has a incendiary launcher. That's rough. So Brio has a passion for cooking, but not quite good at it yet. I'm not going to worry about that. So Preston's now running over to my base with Frankie in tow. We'll work on that soon. Now I'm going to change their preferences so that everyone will mine. I don't really need any artists or any of the crafts yet. Not going to worry about that. And he can mine, he can grow. He'll warden and handle. Yeah, he's not that terrible. I usually set everyone to really high bed rest. The reason being, I think it's important when they're wounded to heal up properly. Infections can be really, really critical, and amputations are even worse. So, Frankie's in tow. Frankie is a slowpoke, so I have a little bit of a long time before he gets to me. So what I'm going to try to do here is rush him. Tusk can shoot, but I don't really want this guy using his incendiary launcher for very long. I don't want him starting giant fires. That's worrisome. So I'm going to... Oh, wow. Preston, you just... Oh, alright, that explains it. You were chased by an 87-year-old. That was actually not nearly as impressive as I thought it was. Now, he belongs to Saber Company, which is the pirate band, so I have no remorse for pirates. They're just going to get killed. Oh, interesting. And I didn't want to loot bodies. Some people like to strip bodies before they, before they pass, so that the gear isn't earmarked as a dead person's gear. But I don't care to do that. I'm happy to just kill them. All right. No one is going to get any medicine. I don't want any unnecessary medicine used. And Tusk will start researching electricity. And I'm being raided. And the raid is going to wait around a while. And it's a drifter from Saber Company as well. So, wow, I've already started and I'm fighting Saber Company pretty seriously immediately. Might as well bury the first body, and I have a notion that I'll need a second grave. So, might as well dig that now. Alright, they're starting their assault here. Alright, Preston. Let's see. I'm going to make sure you have plenty of bed rest, but I'm pretty sure you're done with bed rest. Brio, your bed was stolen, but get on inside there for me. I have a little bit longer before I have to worry about... Alright, here we go. Alright, I'm going to send them to melee so you don't get hurt, Tusk. A little bit of friendly fire there, not ideal. Alright, they're down. and I'm done. At least now I'll have a weapon I want to use. I really avoid using incendiary launchers because, generally speaking, there's a lot of collateral damage, especially when you're defending home. You end up burning your own home. Actually, I should look. No, it's not someone I really want on my team. So, goodbye. One more corpse. This fire should be going out soon, and it is. I don't really care to burn the apparel. Don't mind it. Alright. So, I haven't had the best of luck getting good players to, or good pawns to join, but I'm not on a bad track. It's an alright start. Something just killed. Oh, the fox, the timberwolf. Alright, so Preston is on a little minor break. He really doesn't like this sort of shared barracks setup. Quite frankly, I don't care. I don't care what he likes and dislikes. Alright, I'm going to give some manual priorities here now. I want Preston to be hunting. So Tusk is going to have to drop her bow, because he should have a melee weapon, or a ranged weapon rather. And he needs to get up out of bed. Lazy shit. No, you will not be using this. Let's, even if it's set for medical, you're going to want to go back in there. I'm just going to lock you out. Because you're lazy. All you want to do is lay around. At least this way I can get you hunting and stuff. So now I'm just going to issue a larger harvest order. That's all the berries around me. Get Brio to collect them. Get some food production going, because I'm running out of pemmican. Guess at this point I'll allow Preston to sleep. Sounds like wolves are just, yeah, he's killing everything around. She, yeah. So let's see. I am approximately a little under half an hour into this playthrough. I've got 3 people, I've got a little food, got some weapons. I wish they were mining a little bit more, but it is what it is. They probably don't have access to the mine because of these beds, to be honest. Now that I think about it. I'll just move the bed out once he rises. The concept that I have, the reason I wanted to pick this spot is I want to turn this spot into a really good shooting area. And hopefully, if I can see this through, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now I'll be looking for, oh, here's some good sources of meat. Queue up some hunting. I'm going to make Tusk, at least temporarily, high priority mine just for a little bit more space here. And then smooth the floor. Now, I don't want to be cave dwellers indefinitely. That's definitely not my my game plan here. But at least for the interim, at least until I'm well set up, cave dwelling is good enough for me. So the reason I'm smoothing the floor is it just makes it more attractive, and as long as I keep it smooth and clean, at least until I've started stone cutting, I will have a not hideous, I mean it's hideous right now, but eventually it won't be a hideous spot to live. So I'm going to haul all this steel out, and it's pretty clear to me I need to expand my stockpile area, so I will do just that. All the steel and all the dirt increases unhappiness, so it's important that you clean up after yourself, like I just did. It's going to make everyone a lot happier that it works and lives in the area. Now I'm going to prioritize Preston to construct. I guess he's already constructing, but the reason for it is it will smooth this area out. So as you can see already, it's getting a little bit less ugly. I'm working on that. So I'm starting with some food surplus over there. I'll cook until I have 20. I have some muffalo ready to get worked on. And cargo paws that landed nearby of fox skin. Oh, that's not bad. Alright, so I just got attacked by a wolf. I'm going to get everyone else involved ASAP, because wolf attacks can end up in dead colonists pretty quickly here. And as you can see, he has a permanent scar on his right eye. Oh, and the wolf killed him. Alright. Well, the joy of that is he was not a particularly useful colonist. He was lazy and incapable of dumb labor, so he was really not hauling his own weight. So that's just one less colonist for me to have to carry it with me. The way I mean, that could have been avoided. I could have had him bolt inside, indoors, or I could have been on the lookout for hungry wolves in the area. But at least in the case of for him, I don't care that he died at all, and I make a conscious choice of never to save scum. So he'll be dead for good. Alright, so one of the things they're complaining about is worn out apparel. So I'll do this again. If you go to a sign, edit, and then delete the other outfits that you're not using, and I'm going to currently edit anything, but say only 50 and up. And the reason for it is they will take off their worn out apparel and only wear things that aren't worn out. So I won't receive a debuff for worn out apparel, which is pretty necessary. Now I'm going to strip Preston and bury him. And that should improve the mood a little bit. If you leave your own colonists unburied, it bothers your people considerably. So I have a bit of a food surplus here, and It's not refrigerated, but at least I have some stuff stored. Now, eventually I'll want this to be refrigerated, but it should be getting colder here soon, so maybe I won't need to. Looks as if I do not have a pair of pants for Brio to wear. He's upset by it. Probably because he has to be around his daughter constantly. It's a little awkward, I suppose. One thing I can do is give him a slightly better bed. But I think in the long run that won't matter very much. So now it's cold enough that the meat won't expire. So I didn't need to bother building, oh, an escape pod. Let's hope it's someone useful this time. Kind jogger who can't do skilled labor and is artistic. Sort of useful, I suppose. So I'm going to go rescue him. So skilled labor is like crafting and things, but I don't really need someone. I mean, if someone's incapable of crafting, that's not that big of a deal. But kind and jogger are pretty good traits, meaning that hopefully they're worth it. Now I'm going to make sure that they... I just rescued them. I didn't capture them. There's a reason for it. I don't want my tribe practicing slavery in any way. I will capture from time to time, but only to release or to heal. You know, I'm going to be a benevolent tribe here. So if he decides to join me, he joins. If he does not, he does not. I won't force him. So one thing I can do to brighten up the mood a bit in this little cave is to A, install a campfire again, but B, put in some light, which will be nice. So those are two things I'll work on now. So I don't have to work in the darkness. And also make sure Brio is cleaning a lot, because this inside zone is pretty messy, and it's helpful to clean. Alright, so Brio is no longer complaining about nudity, which is good. He now has a pair of pants. I forced him to wear it, so I'll clear the force, but this room is almost not ugly. And Shepard has, in fact, decided to join, which is terrific. So let's adjust his work. We'll tell him to not bother with that. Until Tusk is done with research, which I think will be a mighty long time, Shepard will be our hunter. He can also cut plants. He can't construct, grow, or mine, which is more complex tasks, but he can resupply, I believe. And he is the best at social, so he'll be the warden. He's really slow at cutting, though. It's probably because he's wounded. Yeah, he's got some injuries. All right. So now I have a tribe of 3, and they're a better 3 than I had before. I'm happier with that. Especially a jogger, because he he's incapable of skilled labor, so he's going to do a lot of cleaning and hauling. And jogging is exactly what you want out of a someone that cleans and hauls. Now he's got hypothermia, so I'm actually going to stop researching briefly to build a campfire because I don't want him becoming truly hypothermic. And he's got some other needs that are not exactly being met, but this one will help a lot, I think. The other ones are he's naked and cold, so I'm going to force him to wear a bunch of crap. It's not going to make him happy because he's wearing dead people stuff, but at least he'll be less cold. Let's see if I can't find things that aren't tagged as dead people stuff. There are pants that are tagged as not dead people stuff. The rest of the gear, I guess we'll have to go. It's too much of a decifit to keep wearing it. So his mood's somewhat improving, not considerably, but a little bit here and there. I have Brio haul that out of the doorway. It's keeping the base cold. I'm going to force Brio to harvest some trees nearby so he can refuel the kitchen, the stove, because the stove went cold. Now it's refueled up to 35, he'll be able to do a bit more cooking on it. Don't have a lot of show. So far I'm about 40 minutes in. Don't have a lot of show for my efforts, but I've had some wolf attacks, a few raids, you know, people fall from the sky. Hopefully he heals up a bit faster. He's taking a while though. So I am now neutrally beautiful. I've climbed out of the negatively beautiful, which is good. Mostly due to the smooth floors that I have here. And I'm going to be aiming to sort of let Tusk do as much of the research as possible. So take care of all the other needs of the colony without asking Tusk to do much else. So one of the things I just noticed is it's a little hot, even with the with the fire going just on its own. So I'm going to expand this base just a tad to allow for it to cool down a bit more. And looking for some large trees to cut down for the wood. Alright, here's another raid, attacking immediately. They do finally have an actual weapon, so I do have to pay attention to this one a bit more closely than in the past. Which means I might think about utilizing this incendiary launcher for once. So I'm going to get people into position already. Get Brio and Shepard in position. The person with the survival rifle is out in front. I'm going to try to engage them on melee. The other person only has a club. And it looks like I've already set them on fire, which is a really good start. And they're dead. Oh, that's just exactly what I wanted. So now they're moving past me. I don't, these are enemies of mine. They're the Saber Company. They're pirates. I'm not going to let them get very far. Basically, they're going down. Down they go. Alright, so now I can strip them, and it's no longer dead people gear, because he's alive. So, let's haul some of this stuff away. And actually, you know what? I'm going to not bother with that. I'm going to strip the other character and start hauling things back, because pretty much everything that's here, Shepard will want to wear. I'm trying to haul as much back as possible before it all sets on fire. I don't really mind if the corpses burn. Just don't want the gear to burn. For economic reasons. And I've got a man-animal on my hands. That's just fine. Bring it. So I don't think I sustained any injuries there, which is good. It's a lot of bites. A lot of bites. But not to mess around with those kind of seemingly non-dangerous injuries. I'm just going to immediately start treatment here, because these can pretty easily get infected if ignored. So this fire is kind of taking out my wood supply, so I'm going to have Tusk start to try to put it out. I should have probably tried to put it out earlier. Now it's kind of more difficult, but at least it will stem some of the spread towards the base. And now that Brio is healed, I can have everyone try to stamp this out. Now, this is spreading towards a marsh. It's basically gonna put itself out, but the rest won't. So I'm trying to instruct them to put it out where it is traveling towards me. Fortunately, seems weird, but what will happen here is it will clear out a lot of these smaller trees to give attackers a lot less cover. So although I wish I didn't have a forest fire on my hands to deal with, this is why I don't use incendiary launchers. It will sort of burn out all the cover that future attackers will try to hide behind. This is a hell of a lot of wasted manpower, so for now I'm just going to let it keep burning. It doesn't seem like I can really do very much to this fire. I'll keep it from coming on my doorstep, but that's all I'll basically try for now. It's also gently snowing, so hopefully that will help to put it out. And that seemed to have done the trick. So he's extraordinarily bad at most tasks. But at least I'll be able to get some berries and wood out of him. I'm back to research with Tusk. She's about maybe a fifth of the way. I'm going to start hunting the muffalo. Until I really have some good agriculture, muffalo are just too expensive to feed. But actually, I'll start to hunt the elk. I'll leave the muffalo alone. Alright, my fire's out. Need to build that again. Which means getting a little bit more wood. Only costs 20, it's pretty cheap to build. Then I want to mine this area out so it gets a little less hot in this zone. But Brio seems to want to keep going to sleep. So Shepard's still a major break risk, mostly because he's joy deprived. So that's one thing I can manage, is just to install a little steel horseshoe pin. That doesn't cost much, goes a long way. Sounds like I have a wolf to watch out for. Yes, I sure do. Get some meals going here, which is good. Can actually order Tusk to finish doing that. Clean up the rubble. And smooth out the last few. So I got a big group of alpha beavers here, but they're kind of on the other... They're not that close. I'm not going to worry about them. And another raid, attacking immediately. Grenades and Molotovs. Well, they're not going to have much luck in beating me here. It's not really dangerous raid. I'll even let Brio sleep. He doesn't really need to do anything here. No, it's gently snowing, so I'm not going to worry about the fire. Because normally that would be the greater threat. Just continually dodge the grenades, and I'll be all good. I'll not even stop Shepard from his harvesting. Beardy is bleeding out pretty quickly here, so it's only a matter of time until he goes down. Alright, now I'll get Shepard involved. And they're fleeing. Let's see, have a hit. Oh, I shot your leg? Yeah, you're not making it off this map. Shepard's a jogger. You're not making it off at all. Down you go. Strip. And haul. Are you any good? No, you're not. Alright, so the next little project I'm going to set up for myself is a table. So I can eat happily. I think that's pretty important. make sure Boreal's a little bit more productive. There we go. Refuel that stove and get cooking. That's the little message. I clicked through it pretty quick. It's a little message that says, if you want to zone out, leave this area, hey, check this spot out on the map. But, I have really no long-term interest in moving, so I clicked off of it as, quickly. All right, so I wanted a table and chairs, so there we go. I think what I'm going to do as soon as Shepard gets back to the base is to take that wolf out. I'm a little worried about that wolf kind of hanging around. So Shepard's back. I'm going to queue up to fire at the Timberwolf. Well, it's target practice that it looks like my colonists sorely require. And down it goes with only a little scratch. That's perfect. So now this little barracks is decently impressive, which is great. And my colonists are getting resources quickly, efficiently, which is great. I do have to remind them from time to time to get wood for the stove, but other than that, it's been pretty smooth. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty typical start. Let me check how much time I am into this. I'm just about an hour. So I'll just finish a few last things and round it up for part 1. And hopefully I'll have a more productive and interesting part 2. I mean, I have been in quite a few scraps, surely. So that is not boring, but I like to bring you as much action as possible without getting ridiculous. Because surely I could just march out and go to war with all of my neighbors, but it wouldn't make for much of a playthrough. I would die pretty quickly. So I think this is a good place to end part 1. This was part 1 of Birth of a Nation, specifically Tusk Nation. So just a reminder, if you want to follow along, the seat is Solitude. I've got my little Tuscan Nation here. The plan here is to be a illustrious, successful tribe, and I will try to explain all of what I'm doing along the way. If you have any suggestions, comments, ideas of any sort, please drop me a line. I'm always happy to hear from you guys. And thank you for watching.